Introduction. Thank you so much, Lucy, and thank you for coming out to Wild Riders and braving the evening in Kensington Market. You were fabulous. I'm going to start with a tragic poem. It is called A Lonesome Lesbian Donut Encomium. The footnote reads that an encomium is a poem of praise. Autumn, fresh and maple frosted, came calling, oven warmed with rising verses that wafted lofty through the tall shelves. I met you there, in the calf near the open stacks. You parted your lips for a double chocolate dip, and spoke with mint-clean breath and freshly minted phrases, kissing our newly wise words into warm couplets. The sweet, hungry dawn, arriving before we could sleep, baked our naked bodies caffeine thin and filled our manuscripts fat with inspiration. Like strawberry cream, you reminded me of summer, fresh strawberry nipples decorating your creamy breasts, sweetly filling those plain, old-fashioned afternoons. Where high art rose, I fell for you. Honey-dipped, sticky and sweet, a snatch all natural and sugar-free. But dull winter set in, and we bickered bitter and cold. I eat and eat, sugar-stupid and starved, for vanilla-filled nights, your love crumbs stale now. Hawaiian sprinkles only enhance that longing for long trips and places far away. I go lonely into the calf and I order my coffee, double, double, like spells of Shakespearean witches and brewed beyond brown. I name the baked goods that embody us now. One frosted cruller and a muffin. I devour you in effigy, my eyes glazing over with a glazed sour cream. My hips have grown to fill the space where your hips once pressed. Yet I am an empty center.
Okay. You'll outlaw
Oh, whatever you feel like. The next one is a more cheery poem. It is called The Apocalypse, a love poem. When the apocalypse came, I lost my wife, the house, 3 adored cats, a green backyard, a jar of delicate seashells, 2 treasured china cabinets, the linen towels, and the linden tree that sheltered a bird bath and lilacs, and the perennial bee balm, all now gone. When the apocalypse came, I walked for the last time on the East Shore beach, bidding goodbye to the doomsday nuclear reactors silhouetted against the irrecoverable skyline, the invasive, supersized occasional corpses of day-glow orange carp laid on the shore. After the apocalypse, the world lay war had scorched and tsunamis sunk, and I thought of all the things I should have done. I should have read the signs, I should have seen it coming, I should have repented before it was too late, I should have filed my taxes on time, flossed more often, spent more time with the kids, I should have put away my laundry before it wrinkled, and my face too. I should have stayed young longer, slept on a slant board to keep my breasts from sagging. I should have fought gravity, fought for my rights, been less obstinate, more compliant, kept the kitchen clean, lost 20 pounds, spent less, saved more, not squandered my time on financial crises or other bad night existential traumas, wasting waking hours riding the angst-ridden bet noir horses of what might befall me if I were to lose it all. After the apocalypse, I began to hear strange noises, odd voices, a ridiculous inner adolescent self flirting with first love, foolishly filling verses with silver lining cloud cliches and those half-deep crack in the sidewalk where strangling wind rainbow blossoms push up crumpled cement in order to flower like dead metaphors, sprouting new green growth. For you, smiling, joyously giddy here, ball of clay rolling between the tip of your thumb and forefinger, an increasing orb, your recreation, a creation rolling rounder in your perfect palms, you filling up its oceans, molding mountains, laughing in post-apocalyptic cold, with me at the midnight streetcar stop, reveling in our newness, pitying history's bickering blights of dead world dramas, those tiny tragic landscapes receding with grace as you dance the new earth alive. This poem is called Constellations. Unpoetry me, cries the humid muse. Heat wave peels us off each other's sweaty skin. We sticky lovers whose open windows fill our ears. The Dufferin muscle cars, the din of pot-smoking kids on our lawn, who wake your little boy in the night with their obscene shouts like we never made when we were pot-smoking kids on other people's lawns. Unpoetry me, cries an underslept muse, as you, the boy's perfectly patient mother, fly through the night with Captain Underpants and the Hobbit until the prose fiction fantasy dawn votes Donald Trump, the voice of U.S. breakfast news. And your beautiful boy on the couch wants you. He would rather die, he says, than be sent away to summer camp, where the otherwise underfoot inconvenient children make too much moody noise for him. The muse of unpoetry me resounds with the copious prose, email, voicemail, ringing phones, credit card companies, relentless dental hygienist reminders, Revenue Canada ringing against us and the foreground Xbox wars. Overtaxed, we stare at the kitchen counter's spoiled peaches, soft as nursery rhyme child's perfectly pitched songs of praise, to his weekend dad who lets him collect his beer can tabs and never tells him to wash his hands or to turn the volume down. In the sticky heat of unpoetry summer days, I fail to follow that you, his true and perfect mother, pour his apple juice correctly. I am imitator, doppelganger, interloper, stepmother, tattletale, tale-teller, home-wrecker, Rapunzel's barber, mummy-do witch, vilified, versified thief of his true first love. I am spellcaster, poet still, at least. I cannot be you. I could spell you off, but in tired child tantrum truths, his diminutive hair-trigger death ray glares explode, and his beautiful, baleful eye fountains shower life-size, full-on tears, drawing me down into sticky-fingered love-hate hugs. Elfin-wise, with old soul, angry magic, he stories his changeling self as the wished-for, perfect, chosen child that he was once, almost, again. How much time do I have?
Time do you want?
7 minutes.
Okay.
All right. This is kind of my epic poem. It comes with a footnote. It's called Ekphrasis on Icarus, and it's so an ekphrastic poem. Ekphrasis is sort of about another piece of art. And the piece of art, well, it's about a couple other pieces of art, but the main one being Bruegel's painting of landscape with the fall of Icarus. So I'll just pass around a couple of copies. Icarus is kind of hard to see, which is kind of the point. So these little white legs sticking out of the water on the far left-hand side beside the ship, that's Icarus after he fell, okay? So if you want to, you're welcome to look at the picture during the boring parts. Ekphrasis on Icarus. Let's raise a toast to the masters. to the toastmasters, the old masters, the chess masters, lock masters, slave masters, the master builders and the masturbators, the master debaters, every John with a heart of gold, the gold-digging masters who strip mine their Ganymede children, who strip the gilded garments from drag queens, and the lap-dancing mothers and indigenous children who got fucked up and fucked down while the masters simultaneously invented Swiss watches and assembly lines and other time and labor-saving devices, inventing leisure suits and leisure time. Time on the moon to contemplate space for astronomy, time to catch the sun almost before their waxen wings began to melt. I confess my love for indoor plumbing, skyscrapers, instantaneous communication, cell phone apps, and protection from the cold. But I could stare forever at the limbo photo of falling man and the art of Icarus lapsing. For Ovid and Bruegel, the oil on canvas, a winged man fallen, and no one sees the white legs in water or the fall, except for the slow sky gazers, the poets, the park sex queers, the psychic hotline dominatrix, the menopausal insomniacs, the one-eyed veterans lying on subway grates, bored housewives on their backs, and the feral children, soldiers of fortune, sleeping with one eye open all the time. I confess, I have earned my master's degree, my PhD. I have picked the locks of old tyrants, men lecherous with wisdom, but I will never be a fellow of the college. I have seen the old deans, the politicians, preening the feathers they plucked from others' wings, the birds who hit the inviting windows and the glass ceilings of their Daedalus maze. And the aging academic sings his auto-defenestration blues to a falling tune, riding a bottle of single malt scotch into the unsuspecting sky. Like other shunned and sometimes unhygienic academics, I have a deep, secret love for library shelves, for the stories of winged men lapsing. I skim the yellowed verses of Wistan Auden, poet, pederast, creeper of schoolboys. I can smell the unfiltered stench of his nicotine teeth. See how he shuffles in dirty bedroom slippers through a cold Belgian gallery of drowsy Dutch masters, painting on painting on painting. He talks in pencil behind his ear until hearing like no one else. The most delicate splash, Icarus falling from Bruegel's Renaissance sky, where everyone, even then, even in those good old days of the 1560s or of the 1930s or of some other past but later time, you personally remember and think of as being better than now. Even then, they were all too busy to notice, too busy to hear a small splash, or the trotting of a soft hoof, or the thunder of Luftwaffe rising to Wagner, falling into the shell-shocked hands of my father's guns. When I was 12, I saw a man fall from the sky. Fighter jet, air show, the pilot upside down in his glass bubble cockpit. His clear silhouette low over my head, engines screaming into the fireball flash as his wings sheared off and exploded in a cloud of light silver flakes, raining down, down, down upon us. And while the crowd, hungry for souvenir manna, fought over pieces of his broken wings, I believed that I alone had seen the man himself fall to his death from the sky, and my father, a frozen statue, looked the other way. If I could ask you now, just to turn off your cell phone. Don't just put it on silent. hold down the button at the top until the screen goes black and you can't see what time it is. And you have to hear that terrifying sound of your heartbeat and your breath going out and in and out, and the breath of other people beside you who are also making that terrifying sound of breathing in and out and in, breathing now. Just as others are breathing like you and I breathe, but just in the shadow of a master's gaze, just under the drone, under the bomb hatch, just under the rule of a tyrant fist, while you and I are breathing here. And so I ask you to look, to really look at this small thing in the dust, this little hoof print, so you can see where the torturer's horse still casually scratches its innocent behind on a tree. An image so precise and true that I had to smuggle it into a poem of my own. When I try to imagine a faultless love or the life to come, writes Auden, what I hear is the murmur of underground streams, and what I see is a limestone landscape. In reading these lines, I hear that murmur of voices under limestone and the snowflakes falling like broken wings in the winter air until the cold-heartedness of the whole world condenses into one small, ornate pane of window frost with a smaller, transparent dot. And that dot is the mark where the impress of my warm fingerprint has melted for me a tiny spy hole, an impermanent record of my own DNA on the cosmic white circles of winter glass.